In a world where 60% of our calories now come from ultra processed foods, the actual secret to start eating healthy, in my opinion, comes down to learning how to read your food labels properly. And even that has a little bit of caveat to it. Well, if you're new here, my name is Amanda, and I'm a doctoral researcher. In this channel, I share my enthusiasm on living a healthy life, but doing that sustainably. Okay, so truth is, most of us want to eat healthy, but we just don't know where to start. In a perfect world, you want to rely on whole, minimally processed foods, things that look like they actually exist in nature, things like your potatoes, your green leaves, eggs, milk, meat, or things like that. These foods are built from the same basic elements that make up our bodies, things like oxygen, carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, and phosphorus, etc. However, our reality is that, whole foods can get expensive, especially in some developed countries, and conversely, processed foods are readily available and sometimes even budget friendly. So the question becomes, how do you make better choices when processed foods are the things you actually have in front of you? Now, I have to acknowledge that it is sometimes hard to decipher what is healthy, but over the years, I've just learned how to read the nutritional label with the eye of a scientist, and I will walk you through an introduction of it today. Okay, point number one, you need to learn the three macronutrients on every label. When you flip a package around, you will see the nutritional fact table. Yeah, so this is what a nutritional fact label look like? So, nutritional fact table, when you look at the nutritional fact, you see things like your fat and lipids, you see your carbohydrates, you see your protein, and etc., the other one. So, we're focusing today on the macronutrients. So, by law, if you notice, the way the nutrients are laid out is not in alphabetical order. In Canada, at least, it is required by law to list nutrients in this standard order after calories. And this is because fat, especially saturated and trans fat, and also sugars are nutrients of public health concern. So they're listed earlier to make them more visible. Protein, on the other hand, is important, but usually less of a concern in terms of overconsumption. So it's placed after them. Okay, I'm gonna dive in a little bit more on these three macronutrients, starting with your carbs. Your carbs include things like sugars, your starches, and fibers. And talking about dietary fiber, this is the one your body mostly does not digest until it reaches your gut bacteria. Those gut bacteria then ferment it into short chain fatty acids that strengthen the gut lining and reduce inflammation and support your metabolic health in general. Protein, on the other hand, is made of amino acids. Out of all of them, there are nine that are essential. And essential here mean that your body cannot make them. And research by Wolf and Associate will tell us that the quality of your protein is measured by what it brings to the table. And that is to say that it's how rich the food is in these essential amino acids and how well you digest them. And as for the fats, they come in various forms. So you have your saturated fats, you have your unsaturated fat. And under that unsaturated fat bracket, you have your mono and polyunsaturated fat, and then you have your trans unsaturated fat. And you already know this, but many organizations, including things like the American Heart Association, will have consistent studies that prove that trans fat is the one to avoid, while unsaturated fats, which include your omega-3s, help support your heart health. If you want me to make a video to sort of break down all of these different fats, because they're actually a lot and it can be overwhelming, but if you want me to make a video on that, put it in the comment section and I just might make it.